This is that journey. This is that journey through the Americas, through the Ame'ricans. What's up, my people? Y'all ready to vibrate up? This is that journey through the Americans. Are y'all ready to levitate? This is to the promised land. You know what I'm saying? Cibola, Kalelus, Shambhala, the Ame'ricans. This is that journey. Hawayadim. This is Mount Roraima, y'all. This is that visual, that beautiful visual, that beautiful vibration of a visual Mount Roraima. Yeah, this is all the Americas. This is Mount Shasta, Mount Roraima. Tokef Benak. Tokef Benak. That strong tree of life. Remember the tree that we cut down? The tree that we cut down. This tree that was cut down supposedly brought all the havoc upon us. This Mount Roraima, this strong tree of life. Tokef Benak. Tokef Benak. Yeah, this is beautiful Mount Roraima, y'all. I mean, wait till you get a whiff of this. This is the highest mountain on the triple border of Venezuela, Brazil, and Guyana. Wait till you see it. It's the highest, man, in South America, man. It's the Panorama Mountains in the Panorama lands. And one of the world's most extraordinary. It's beautiful. This is the land of Roraima. I mean, just look. Wait till you get a load of it. This is the Americas, man. This ain't across the waters. This is in the water. In the water. 12,000 feet high. Check it out. Oh, that's beautiful. Menasseh. Now, it was first, they say that this is first described by an English, so-called English explorer, Sir Walter Raleigh. So-called English explorer Sir Walter Raleigh, during his expedition in 1595. It's 31 square kilometers, 12 miles. Panorama, Mount Roraima, 12 miles. It's bound on all sides by cliffs rising 400 meters. That's 1,300 feet. 1,300 feet. The mountain also serves as a triple border point of Venezuela, Guyana, and Brazil. It's beautiful. Elevation of 2,800 miles. That's 9,220 feet. Oh, it's a country high point. Ultra prominent peak. Right in your Brazil, your South America, your Venezuela, your Guyana highlands. It's beautiful. Mamarema lies on a Guyana shield in the southeastern corner of Venezuela, 30,000 square kilometers. That's 12,000 square miles. Canaima National Park forming the highest peak in Guyana's highland range. The tabletop mountains of the park are considered some of the oldest geological formations on the earth. Some of the oldest geological formations on the earth, dating back to some 2 billion, as they say, 2 billion years ago in the Precambrian. Alright, the Precambrian is the early part of the Earth history. The early part of the Earth history is the Precambrian, set before the current Paleozoic eon. The Precambrian is so named because it preceded the Cambrian, the first period of the Phanerozoic eon, which is named after the Cambria, the Latinized name for Wales. The Latinized name for Wales is the Cambrian. We know about the Wales being in Scotland, is the Cambrian period, which is from the Phanerozoic eon. Okay, Phanerozoic eon, where rocks from this age were first studied. The Cambrian or the Precambrian. The Precambrian, that's the Cambridge. Precambrian accounts for 88% of the Earth's geological time. The Precambrian colored green is the timeline figure and the uniformal unit of geological time. Alright, subdivided into 3 eons, Hadean, Archean, and Proterozoic of the geological time scale. Alright, so it's talking about 2 billion years ago. The first prehistoric geological landmass on the earth. Let's check it out. This is Solomon, King David. This is the land of Abraham. This is the Americas, the Ame'ricans. This is Topek, Tokef, Banak. Tokef, Banak. This is what they talk about in the Caesar's Messiah, the tree that we cut down, the strong tree of life.
32 towards Roraima. Nice steady walk, and then 16 up and down hills towards our second base camp. 3.5 more hours to go.
Imagine that vibration. Imagine what you feel. What you feel near that tree. 12 miles long.
That bridge is what we must climb tomorrow morning, 4 hours.
Not always sting.
Now, since long before the arrival of the European explorers, okay, this is long before the arrival of the European explorers, the mountain has held a special significance for the indigenous people of the region. The tree has held a special significance for the indigenous people of the region, and it is central to many of their myths and legends. Okay, now they're talking about the Piedmont and the Kapan natives, but we're talking about before them. All right, these are the natives of Grand Sabana. Okay, see Mount Roraima as the stump of a mighty tree that once held all the fruits and tuberous vegetables in the world, felled by Macunema, their mythical trickster, right? The tree crashed to the ground, unleashing a terrible flood. All right, they call him a trickster. But, you know, you got to dodge your hijacks. Maku, Makir, Maruk. Maku, Makir, Maruk. Alright? So dodge your hijacks. Dodge your hijack. Alright? Wakashian. Alright, so the tree crashed to the ground, unleashing a terrible flood. Alright? Unleashing a terrible flood. Alright? Part of language, ma meaning great. So they say the first climb was by Sir Everard Anthern. He walked up a forest ramp in December 1884 to scale the plateau. This is the same route hikers take today. Alright, so that's what they say. So let's check out a little bit more of our sacred tree. Oh, it's beautiful, 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 beautiful. Look at a little baby dragon. Little baby dragons all over the place. Man, this is vibration. Look at that beautiful, beautiful landmass. This is your Ame'ricans. Rise up, Barcoba. Huey Mott, Kesakota. Rise up. Raja or Raja Chola. Rise up, Menasseh, Moshe, Moses. Rise up. Look at that. Woo! It's been a lifetime. It's beautiful. Tokef Benak. Tokef Benak. Strong tree of life. Said, store all the fruits and vegetables of the world. They say in Brazil, the Monte Roraima National Park lies within the Raposa Serra do Sol indigenous territory, but it is not open to the public without permission.
High up the ridge. Almost to the top. Maybe almost 3/4 of the way. It's a beautiful day. Can't wait to get up there.
And believe me, this camera is not taking up half this beautiful tree.
I love the smell.
Into the nature. This is the wilderness. This is beautiful. This is your American wilderness. This is life. The tree of life. Wow. Wow.
Robert?
Look at all that mineral. You can live anywhere out there as you choose. Now that's freedom. Shambhala. Wow, you see that beautiful water, spring water. This is your land, man. It's in your genes, but you can't claim it because they left you no platform to explain it. That's Nipsey Hussle. It's in your genes, but you can't claim it because they left you no platform to explain it. But this is that platform right here, man. This is that wall of protection. This is that 432 ether. This is that drop. This is that hit you over the head with some real shit. This land is your land. This land is our land. Shabbatah. 12,000 kilometers. Peace and power. Peace and power. The remedy to reparation, to separation, is dedication.
All you need in our hand.
The remedy to reparation, to separation, is dedication, man. This vibration will allow you to dedicate. But man, my family, my Shabbatah, y'all gonna have to go here to get the whole video, alright? This is the lost world, Mount Roraima, the lost world. in the Ame'ricans. Alright, y'all go check it out. Ain't it beautiful? That was beautiful. So a teapot or teapot, right? Spanish is a tabletop mountain or mesa found in Guyana highlands of South America, especially in Venezuela and Western Guyana. The Kukanan Tapai. The word Tapai means house of Hawa. House of Hawa in the native tongue. Alright. See, the Piman, which are not the indigenous, but they say it's the house of gods. Gods. Alright. But we know that's the house of Hawa in our native tongue. Alright, in our indigenous native tongue. Alright. Raposa Serra de Sol. Alright. Portuguese for Fox, Sun, Hills, indigenous lands. Okay. Indigenous lands is an indigenous territory in Brazil intended to be home to the Macusi family, the Macusi tribe. It is located in the northern half of Brazil's state of Roraima and is the largest in that country and is one of the world's largest with an area of 1,743,089 acres. Hectares. Gotta be like by the hectagons and by the tens. Hectares, 10-acre pieces. 10-acre lots, 1.7 million 10-acre lots, and 4,307,270 acres. 4 million acres right here. 4 million acres right here. Stop playing, Halil Hawa. This area includes two major natural landscape plains occupied by a type of vegetation similar to the Cerrado and steep mountains covered with a thick rain forest. The Pacaraima Mountains in the north of the territory separate Brazil from Venezuela and Guyana. The territory contains 116,000 hectares, 288,490 acres. Mount Roraima National Park created only in just 1989. Alright, Raposa Sierra, the sole indigenous territory, is home to about only 20,000 people. Come on, man, stop playing. Stop playing. 20,000 people. So home to only about 20,000 people, as they say, most of them Macusi. Most of them are Macusi. Alright, other peoples represented there are the Wapixanás, the Toripans, and the Paramonas, as well as the non-indigenous farmers. The inhabitants of reserve vary wildly in language and degree of culture contact with the mainstream Brazilian culture. Alright. I don't want to get into the researchers and the missionaries and the military men that society has been through there. Alright, most of the contact the Indians have. Hold on one second. Sister Warrior, what it do? They have, Sister Dawada. I know I'm gonna check out your comment later. Alright. Okay. Ephraim's sacred mountain. Alright. 70 biblical reasons to stand and support Jacob, Israel, Yasharallah. 70 biblical reasons. Alright. It's a book entitled Return to the Promised Land. Has captured 70 scriptures from the Bible, Tanakh, the Tanakh published by the Jewish Publication Society, which are related to Yahweh's promise on the return of the Hebrew people to the land of Israel, Yasharallah, to the land of the Hebrew people. The purpose of this booklet is twofold. For Jews, for Hebrews to understand that their return to the promised land, alright, is Yahweh's promise and calling, alright, and for Gentiles to understand that they have a part to play, to sojourn, have a part to play in bringing Hebrews to return to the promised land. This is in real time, y'all. Has Hebrews returned to the promised land not fulfilled in history? Some people argued after 70 years of exile to Babylon, Hebrews were allowed by King Cyrus to return to Jerusalem and rebuild the temple. However, it is stated in the Bible that in that day, Yahweh will apply his hand again to redeeming the other part of his people. This is in Isaiah 11:11. Deuteronomy 24:46-67 describes how the Hebrews will suffer in exile. If we study these scriptures carefully, we would notice that it is not referring to the situation in Babylon, but the situation over the past 2,000 years. Okay, such as when they were in Spain in the 14th century, or the past 2,000 years. Remember the 2,000 years in Qumran, the 2,000 years that they say we've been going through since this arrival of Jesus. We've been going through it. They've been killing all the prophets and messiahs. But I don't know about this 2,000 years. You know, we're going to have to check the timeline for that one. But the point is referring to a situation, all right, over 2,000 years, such as when they were in Spain in the 14th century, Russia in the 19th century, and Germany in the 20th century. Okay? Whether you are a Jew or Gentile, as you finish reading this booklet, may his spirit speak to you, respond to his call, and act accordingly. Alright. Alright, Devarim. That's Deuteronomy. When all these things befall you, the blessing and the curse that I have set before you, and you take them to heart amidst the various nations to which Yahweh has banished you, and you return to Yahweh, and you and your children heed, you and your children, not just you and your children, heed his command with all your heart and soul, just as I enjoin upon you this day. Then Yahweh will restore your fortunes and take you back in love. Then Yahweh will restore your fortunes and take you back in love, once you and your children heed to his commandment with all your heart and soul. You and your children heed to his commandment. See, that was the job for Moses. That was the obstacle for Moses to. His children had to be bestowed upon this covenant. His children had to be part of this fight for Jacob. His children were to be presented to his tribe. Overstand. Then I will restore your fortunes and take you back in love. He will bring you together again from all the peoples where Ahchwa, your God, has scattered you. Even if your outcasts are at the ends of the world, from there Ahchwa will gather you. From there he will fetch you, and Ahchwa will bring you to the land that your fathers possessed, and you shall possess it. And he will make you prosperous and more numerous than your fathers. That's in Deuteronomy. Devarim 30:1 and 5. Alright, Devarim Hayamim. 2nd Chronicles. If you return to Ahchwa, your brothers and children will be regarded with compassion by their captors, and will return to this land. If you return to Ahchwa, your brothers and children will be regarded with compassion by their captors, and will return to this land. For Ahchwa is gracious and merciful. He will turn his face from you if you return to him. Chronicles 30. Nehemiah or Nehemiah. Be mindful of the promise you gave to your servant Moses, Moshe. If you are unfaithful, I will scatter you among the peoples. But if you turn back to me, faithfully keep my commandments, even if your dispersed are at the ends of the earth, I will gather them from there and bring them to place where I have chosen to establish my name. Alright, and one more. Tehillim. This is Psalms. Oh, that the deliverance of Jerusalem, that the deliverance of Yasharallah might come from Zion. When Ahchwa restores the fortunes of his people, Jacob will exult. Yasharallah will rejoice. Psalms 14:7. O offspring of Abraham, his servant, O descendants of Jacob, his chosen ones. He is our Ahchwa. His judgments are throughout the earth. He is ever mindful of his covenant, the promise, Muslim, the promise he gave for 1,000 generations that he made with Abraham, swore to Isaac, and confirmed in a decree for Jacob, for Yasharallah, as an external and an eternal covenant, saying, to you I will give the land of Canaan as your allotted heritage. Psalms 105. Alright, you can continue to read that, but it's steady hitting you over the head with that covenant, with the promise. Alright, dodge your own. Damn, my judge. Alright, man, we're gonna check some other stuff out, man. We got in the ether. We bought some more lost land, man. Alright, this Negro River. This Negro River. Negro River. Portuguese river, Spanish, Negro, Rio Negro, major tributary to the Amazon, Shimbala. Alright, Orinoco. The Orinoco is the Amazon. It originates in several head streams, including the Vaps, Mapes, and the Guyana, which rise in the rainforest. This is your Ame'ricans in the rainforest, the Amazon rainforest of the Colombian Venezuela border. Man, this is beautiful land. Why would you want to go anywhere? Why would you go anywhere? You got beautiful black panthers, which are jaguars. You got mountain lions. Why would you want to go anywhere, man? And you are the mountain lions. Just like you are the jaguar. You are the panther. Panther just meaning what? That dark cat. That jagu, that dragoon. So look, we got the Orinoco River in Venezuela. The river acquires the name Negro. The river acquires the name Negro and enters Brazil. The Negro meanders generally east-southeastward, picking up the Orinoco River and other tributaries to Menasseh. There it joins the Salaman River to form the Amazon, man. Man, this is all vibration. Its length is about 1,400 kilometers, 2,250 kilometers. Of which 850 miles, 130 kilometers are in Brazil. It is navigable for about 450 miles. 450 miles. 251 kilometers. 156 miles. Well, how many miles is it? Oh, it's about 100 and 400. It's about 400. Alright, so this is different from the Navel River. It's different from it. But this is the miles of 1,400 miles, 2,250 kilometers, of which 850 miles, alright, are in Brazil. It is navigable for about 450 miles, man, above its mouth. Although settlement is along the banks, it's sparse. The river is major transportation artery. Major transportation artery. It is a Nile valley. It is a valley in the Nile, where all life's vegetation, the clear jet black color of the Negro water, whence comes to the river's name, is caused by the decomposition of the organic matter in the marginal swamps, alright, and its low silt content, alright, the black waters, okay, alright, contrast dramatically with the yellow silt Latin waters of the Orinoco and with the Amazon. Alright. Where organic matter has accumulated sufficiently in soils to produce the humic acids that give the river its dark color and sufficient acidity, alright, which they really mean, you know, it's alkalined up to affect the plant and animal life. You know it's alkalined up, but they want to throw you the words acidity, and you know it's alkaline up. It's alkalined up, my people. Alright, y'all check us out over in the ether. You know, I'm hitting them over the head every Friday, 10 o'clock our time, 8 o'clock over in Cali, Khalifa. So I'll be getting into that next chapter, Decius Mundus. You gotta check this shit out. This shit is sick, man. Especially when I translate it. The history of Decius Mundus. This story is passed on to the posterity thanks to Flavius Josephus' account. Alright. Alright. Paulina married to Saturn was according to a legend rich, beautiful, and very pious, practicing in the cult of Isis. Practicing in the cult of Isis, Decius Mundus fell in love with her, but could not seduce her. He tried to offer him money. But could not seduce her. He tried to offer him money in exchange for favors without success, thinking he was killing himself. He spoke of his passion to a matchmaker named Ide. This one proposed to him to satisfy his desires against 50,000 drachmas, which this money she bribed the priests of the temple. They informed Paulina that Anubis had expressed her desire to know her, and when she came to spend the night at the temple for a hierogamous union with God, Hierogamous or hierogamy in a mythical designates a sacred union of a sexual nature, a coupling between two divinities, or between a god and a man or a woman. In the field of religion, it refers to a ritual representation by humans of a divine sexual alliance. So who has a Decius Mundus, a divine sexual alliance? Alright, could that be two races? A female of a particular ethnicity and a male of a particular ethnicity. What could that be? Alright, union with the god. A union with the god. Decius Mundus took the place of Anubis, thus obtaining his favors too without his knowledge. When Paulina later told Decius Mundus about the wonderful night she had spent with the god, he claimed the deception. The complaints of Paulina provoked such a scandal that Tiberius crucified the matchmaker, razed the temple of Isis, and threw his statue in the Tiber. Alright, so man, we're going to check that out. We'll get into that wood deception of the story of Paulina. We're going to get into that, man, Decius Mundus in this chapter. And it's a correlation to this Caesar's Messiah. So, y'all be there or be square, man. Alright. Be there or be square. Be there or be square. Yeah, we're gonna make this a quick one, man. It's 3:30. Well, it's 3 o'clock. Well, actually, it's 4 o'clock a.m. where I'm at. I gotta get up in a couple hours, so we're gonna make this a quick one, man. We just vibrating. Let's check out Jeremiah 32 and 1. The word that came to Nehemiah from Ahchwa in the 10th year of Zedekiah, king of Judah. Alright, king of Utah, which was the 18th year of Nebuchadnezzar. For then the king of Babylon's army besieged Jerusalem. The king of Babylon's army besieged Jerusalem, and Nehemiah the prophet was shut up in the court of his prison. Alright, okay, which was in the king of Judah's house. For Zedekiah king of Judah had shut him up. Zedekiah king of Judah hath set him up, saying, Wherefore dost thou prophesy, and say, Thus said Ahchwa, Behold, I will give this city into the hand of the king of Babylon, and he shall take it. And Zedekiah king of Judah shall not escape out of the hand of the Chaldeans, but shall surely be delivered into the hand of king of Babylon, and shall speak with him mouth to mouth, and his eyes shall behold his eyes. And he shall lead Zedekiah into Babylon, and there shall he be until I visit him. Said Ahchwa, though ye fight with the Chaldeans, ye shall not prosper. And Nehemiah said, the word of Ahchwa came unto me, saying, Behold, Hanamel the son of Shalom, thine uncle, shall come unto thee, saying, Buy thee my field that is in Anathoth, for the right of redemption is thine to buy it. Okay? He said, your fight with the Chaldeans, you shall not prosper. Though you fight with the Chaldeans, you shall not prosper. Alright? But thee my field that is in Anathoth, for the right of redemption, it is thine to buy. So Hanamel, mine uncle's son, came to me in the court of the prison according to the word of Ahchwa, and said unto me, Buy my field. Buy my field, I pray thee, that is in Anathoth, which is the country of Benjamin, for the right of inheritance is thine, and the redemption is thine. Buy it for yourself. Then I knew that it was the word of Ahchwa. It was the word of Ahchwa. And I bought the field of Hanamel, my uncle's son, that was in Anathoth, and weighed him the money, even 17 shekels of silver. And I subscribed the evidence, and sealed it, and took witness, and weighed him the money in the balances. So I took the evidence of the purchase, both that which was sealed according to the law, and custom, that which was open. And I gave the evidence of the purchase unto Baruch, the son of Neriah, the son of Meziah, in the sight of Hanamel, my uncle's son, and in the book, and in the presence of the witness that subscribed the book of the purchase, before all the Hebrews that sat in the court of the prison. Okay, so he's telling you how he made witnesses to how to him purchasing this land. And I charged Baruch before them, saying, Thus said Ahchwa, the God of Israel, take these evidences, this evidence of purchase, the evidence of purchase, both which is sealed, and this evidence which is open, and put them in an earthen vessel, that they may continue many days. For thus said Ahchwa, God of Israel, houses and fields and vineyards shall be possessed again in this land. Houses and fields will be possessed in this land. So now, when I had delivered the evidence of the purchase unto Baruch the son of Nehemiah, I prayed unto Ahchwa, saying, O Lord Ahchwa, behold, thou hast made the heaven and the earth by thy great power and stretched out arm, and there is nothing too hard for thee. Thou showest love kindliness unto thousands, and recompense the iniquity of the fathers unto the bosom of the children after them. The great, the mighty Ahchwa, in his name. In his name. Alright, I'm going to slow up. Man, y'all just learn to be free. We all about the land, so from day one, get your land up. Get your tribe up. Get your vibe up, man. Continue to serve. Continue to put foot to action. It's in your genes, but you can't claim it. because they left you no platform to explain it. This is that. Take this all the way to the bank. And I'm not talking about the bank where you deposit your Moneto Juno. I'm talking about the banks where the Orinoco River, the banks where the San Banyan River, the banks where the Amazon, where all the life, the tree of life, everything you need is there. Learn how to be free, vibe up, and tribe up. Bring your chi out. Bring your dragon. Let's meditate. Let's meditate. Remember, vibration is law, and law is none above the firmament, chasing hounds from the barrier, laying up, tribe up. That is
It's called Mount Zion, y'all. Oh, well, you must been it. Yeah, this shit warm as fuck. How you feeling, brother, man? Feeling good, that's what's up. It's called home. Definitely the current situation, man.
beautiful.
How's it going? All right. There you go. Friendly neighbors over here. Yeah. Oh, man, super refreshing, man. I was like, they holding out on me. They didn't say me. No, it feels good, definitely. Actually, go in.
Now this is the actual downfall. This is my downfall that I was talking about. The downfall of Hiram, man. You know, it got these steeps in the river. You can walk right up and just fall right in one of those steeps. We are in the narrows, man. The narrows of Zion Canyon, man. Check it out. And it's for everybody. It's wheelchair accessible. You can walk for 1 mile to the temple of Zenawava, and that just stands for Zan, baby, Zion, Zenawava. Alright, if you wish to see more, you'll be walking in the Virgin River. It's a beautiful thing. You can evolve. They call it wading upstream. So later I'm going to show you how we were wading upstream to just going against the current. It's a beautiful thing, but we can check out right now, and we're going to get into some to the actual land of Utah and some other things. We're going to check into these Pharisees also, back into when the destruction of Jerusalem occurred. So, man, I'm just hitting you over the head with some food. I'm hitting you over the head with some real shit. So y'all eat, man. Pull up to the table. Let's eat. Alright, but watch this downfall of Hiram. Got Shorty falling all over the place. Little Priest in there falling in those steeps. AD laughing at me, man.
Hey, only on ADTV, man. Only on ADTV.
ADTV, yeah.
Hey, that's how you do it, though, bro. Get all in. You was bullshit anyway. You was bullshit. I ain't fucking with you, nigga.
I do the same Shorty in there.
Hey, I told you. Oh, that was funny.
And in the meanwhile, while I'm falling, but y'all check out. They call this the Narrows for a reason, man. Hold up, I want to show you. Hold on. You see that? You see those trees? You know, you can hike them. You can hike them, man. You can hike them. But we talking about, these are 1,000 feet tall. Okay, these are the Narrows, man. With walls 1,000 feet tall. And the river sometimes is 20 to 30 feet wide. Alright, depending on how the water rides. But man, 1,000 feet tall Narrows. This is beautiful. The mountain walls. These are our trees, our ancient trees. This is our ancient land. It's a beautiful thing. Let's check it out.
How did you think it go?
See, what y'all don't know, this is before the South. Okay? This is Judah. This is before the South. This is before all the Levites, before we all moved to the southern lands. We were here. That's what you have to understand. That's why I need you to understand. We were here, man, in the four corners. Witnessing the tile. Witnessing, in Hebrew, the sign. This is Shambhala. This is Shekinah. Alright? This is Yapah. This is Totek. This is Omek, Huey Mak, Gesakota. This is that feeling, man. Y'all check it out.
I know it did. Phone has it. It's over? No.
And I end up ruining my phone, my Android, but I tell you, man, I tell you what, I'll do it all over again. It was priceless. It was priceless out there with the family, feeling free with my staff. Shorty out there, out there vibrating, doing his indigenous dance. It's a beautiful thing, man. This is priceless. Hiram Jr. over around there somewhere sitting on a log. He already been out in the river, you know, so it wasn't nothing new to him, but I still feel he should have got out there again in the Fountain of Youth. This is a beautiful thing, y'all. Y'all power up, levitation. We way up in the forest, man. Feel the vibration. Feel the vibration.
I ain't over.
AD still laughing at me because I fell in the water.
Trying to call me too, like, hey. Oh my God. I got that shit.
Yeah, I want to thank AD too, man, for sending me this footage. It was a beautiful thing. Good looking, Brett.
Oh!
Shorty falling again.
Oh, that was beautiful. That was totally beautiful.
Fire.
Oh yeah, I got that. I got that.
Check out those narrow valleys, man. Wow.
Yo, that's what happened.
ass rock and slip.
Oh shit.
Yeah, I'm gonna stop it once I take my dive. I'm gonna take a nose dive, man. We feeling so good, I'm gonna just turn around and take my nose dive and get it all over with. So y'all check it out.
Man, that was once in a lifetime, man.
I'm glad I got another phone.
It felt good though, man. You gotta admit, it did, man. I'm kind of jealous. I feel like I got all kind of shit in my pocket, but I would have took that fall if I could. Yeah, man, you might as well. Shit, you might as well get all in now. Your phone already fucked. I hold your phone.
Go ahead.
Nah, shit, man, you don't. I would though, to be honest. Yeah. It's called living well, huh, Brother Nature?
Shouts out to Brother Nature, man. He's somewhere around there. We got Nature and his whole fam, the Ty Battle fam. Ty sitting over there. That's Ty over there by the tree, Hiram Jr. I don't know who the might be some brothers and sisters, but some neighbors over there, sojourners around just chilling, relaxing. And we got Ty Battle and not Ty Battle, but CJ Battle around the curve with his brother and the tribe. We got KB the Assassin. Like I said, Brother Nature is around there and also enjoying. We have El Quam, man. El Quam is around there somewhere, so it's a beautiful thing, man. And the fam and the whole entire fam, so it's a beautiful thing. We actually, this is living, man. This is actually living. This is organic. This is true. This is righteous. And the family is enjoying themselves, so I'll just show y'all a little more. And then we're going to actually get into the land of Utah.
Alright. Man, I need to get up in there, man. Y'all making me I feel bad all of a sudden.
See you back, sure. Sure.
That was beautiful, man. Hey,
In the bag.
how'd that feel, man?
Good, baby. Refreshing. Feel at home, baby. Ooh, wata.
Wata.
Come on, daddy, man. Gotta let go, man.
So yeah, it felt good to fall back in that, man. Alright, this is by Charles D. Walcott. He was the director, United States Geological Survey. That got something to do with the land. Underground water in the valleys of Utah Lake. Yeah, Utah got valleys. This is Judah. This is Moab. This is the land of Moab. Judah Lake. This is Judah. And the Jordan River. Oh, you didn't think the Jordan, y'all? You thought I was playing when I was just talking about the Jordan. Alright. This is the Jordan River, man. Zion in Utah. Alright, by G.B. Richardson. Alright, this is in 1906. Alright, by the Washington Government Printing Office. Let's check it out. Got an introduction about the drainage, topography and the drainage, geological. Let's see. We just, I got hit over the head with this in the ether. I think it was Corey Mayo and Yosef. Man, you know, when they get in there, it's a, man, they making electricity, you can best believe. So I think Dawi, one of them, man, hit me, laid this over my desk. Excuse me, man, I'm over here, got the hiccups. But they laid this over my desk. I got hit over the head with it, so I'm hitting you over the head with it. And best believe it's priceless. Alright, this is about the land of Utah, man. See what's formulating. Okay, we got precipitation, temperature, wind velocity, humidity, evaporation, showing us about even the weather, hydrography, streams tributary to the lake and the Jordan River. Okay, I think that's where we want to go. Jordan River. See what it's talking about. Okay, we got underground water. All right, it's gonna lead us to the underground water for sure. West of the Jordan River, divisions of area. All right, Salt Lake City, man. I've been to Salt Lake City, and man, let's just say, man, this Four Corners is very vacant, man. It's missing us. It's missing the people, man. It's missing the people. Alright? It's missing the people, man. Utah Lake Valley, Lehigh, and vicinity. The American Fork, Spanish Fork. Alright? Goshen Valley. Remember the people of Goshen? This is Goshen Valley, west of the Utah Lake. Alright, let me see. Even got illustrations. Couple maps showing the wells are obtained in Utah Lake. Oh yeah, this is very pertinent, man. We actually need this. Alright, Wasatch Mountains from Liberty Park, northern end of Utah Lake. Got sketches of maps showing the depth to the groundwater in the valleys of the lake and the Jordan River. So yeah, but we want to fall into 24 and 25 where it says about Utah Lake and the Jordan River. But first, we just gonna piece it together. We just gonna roll slow, see what we get. Alright, this is the water supply. Actual water supply in Wasatch Mountains. This is Liberty Park in Salt Lake City. This is the actual water supply. Alright, from this actual lake. And it's the same thing as you see in water towers. You see in a water tower in the city, that's because there is no lake. So they store the water in the water tower. So, but all the actual water comes from the springs of the lake, so it's a beautiful thing. They siphon it, they still in it, man. Alright, let me see underground water in the valleys of Utah Lake in the Jordan River, Utah. Alright, let's see what it's talking about. It says the valleys of Utah Lake and Jordan River are situated in north central Utah, Judah, in the extreme eastern part of the Great Basin. So if y'all don't know what we in this Judah for, if you go to Deuteronomy 34, it'll break it all down for you. These are the lands that was given to Moshe, to Huimach, alright, to Huimach and Kesakota. Alright, these are the lands that was given to Kesakota, alright, which were Joshua when he took us into the promised land. Okay, so this is the valleys of Utah Lake and the Jordan River. This is Moab. This is Mount Nebo, Mount Pisgah. Alright, all you gotta do is go to Deuteronomy 34 and you can check that out. Alright, so let's get into it. We talking about the central Utah, north central Utah is where the Utah Lake and the Jordan River are situated, in the extreme eastern part of the Great Basin. The Great Basin, the Great Lakes, the lofty Wasatch Range, alright, the westernmost of the Rocky Mountain system. And I love this area because this is where the Four Corners, where you got, man, you can hide in the mountains for days, get lost in the trees for days. Limits the valleys on the east and the relatively low basin range of the Ochre Lake. The Ochre Lake. Alright. The Ochre Lake. Alright. Sounds like the Orinoco, doesn't it? And East Tintic Mountains determine them on the west. You can see it all from the west. The valleys tend north and south and are almost separated by the low east-west traverse range, the slopes of which constitute a dam for Utah Lake, which drains through Jordan River to Salt Lake, alright, to the Great Salt Lake. Alright, so the water spread all the way to Salt Lake City from the Utah, and man, that's about at least 300 to 400 miles. Alright, the area under consideration is the most populous and flourishing part of the state. Salt Lake City and Provo, and that's true. Salt Lake City got a lot of people and it still look desolate. Mountains everywhere, factories everywhere, man, and it's desolate. Salt Lake City and Provo, the first and the third cities in the state, and many other thriving settlements are there located. At Bingham Junction and Murray, a number of smelters treats the ores from nearby mines. Okay, they're talking about mines. All right, what are the mines? Oil mines, coal mines. All right, gold mines also. But agriculture is the main industry. Agriculture is the main industry. All right, food, seeds. All right, water for the irrigation is supplied by mountain streams. All right, water that streams off the mountains. The water is irrigated through that. And extensive farming is successfully pursued. All right, that means the land is fertile. All right, extensive farming is successfully pursued. The land is fertile. The practice of irrigation was begun by the Mormon pioneers in 1847. All right, so they could say that, I guess when they started recording it, but we know that we've been irrigating the waters off the mountains for as long as the mountains existed. So, as far as when they started recording and about their history, is just his story. It's not our story. Alright? So, and they say, and has been discussed in several publications, little attention, however, has been given to the underground water resources. Alright? And so far as the writer is aware, they have not before been described. Alright, the present paper outlines conditions of occurrences of the subterranean waters and describes their development in the valleys of Utah Lake and Jordan River. So what they're saying is that, these underground valleys carrying a lot of water. Alright, so that's the point of, even when we were up there dealing with the water, the surveyor was trying to actually say that, there was an actual water shortage and everything. So right here is proving that, man, we got underground valleys of water and we have a lake that spreads for hundreds and hundreds of miles. Okay? Okay, not including wells and other resources. But if you got underground water, man, you got water. It's a beautiful thing. So let's get into the topography and the drainage. Alright, so let's find out what topography means, because I don't want to act like I'm smarter than I am. Okay, because really, I don't know. Topography, is it the top of something, the top soil? I don't know. Or the top of the water? Let's see. Topography. 1 second. Topography.
Here's the definition of topography: the style and appearance of printed matter.
Okay. The style and appearance of printed matter. Okay. The art or procedure of arranging, type, or processing data and printing from it. Alright, so this just telling us about the data that was processed about this matter. The matter of the land and the drainage and the water. Alright. So the drainage area of Utah Lake and Jordan River is approximately 3,300 square miles. 3,300 square miles. Alright. So this ain't about 300 square miles. The drainage area of Utah Lake and the Jordan River is approximately 3,300 square miles, of which 2,600 are tributary to Utah Lake and 700 to the Jordan, north of the Traverse Mountains. Alright, so a lot of the water contributes to the Utah Lake and the Jordan. Alright, which is north of the Traverse Mountains. About 2,000 square miles of watershed are in the Wasatch Mountains. Alright, while the valleys themselves cover a little less than 1,000. Alright, 2,000 square miles, not 2,000 miles. 2,000 square miles is much more than 2,000 miles. This is 2,000 square miles, all right, of the watershed. All right, well, it's not 2,000 more miles. It's just in a square radius. All right, it's just in a square radius of the watershed. So it would just cover more area. Or of the 2,000 square miles of the watershed are in the Wasatch Mountains, while the valleys themselves cover a little less than 1,000 square miles. Okay, Utah Lake Valley is about 38 miles long. Okay, the Lake Valley is about 38 miles long, average 15 miles in width. All right, wow, and occupies about 560 square miles, including Utah Lake. Jordan Valley is approximately 28 miles long. All right, 15 miles wide, and comprises 420 square miles. These valleys in late geologic time were occupied by Lake Bonneville, the Pleistocene predecessor of the Great Lake. All right, this is the predecessor of the Great Lake predecessor, and to the fact is due their characteristics, topography. All right, so it's the breakdown. Almost flat, unconsolidated lake sediments underlie the broad valleys, the borders of which are marked by a unique series of terraces that characterize the shorelines of that old lake. Descriptive details of these features will be given in sections devoted to the geology and the occurrence of the underground water. Wow, the range in the elevation is considerable. The present level of Great Salt Lake is approximately 4,210 feet above the sea, and that of Utah Lake is about almost 4,500 feet above. From these lowest elevations, and that's low, the two valleys rise to their outer borders, which may conveniently be taken as the highest level occupied by Lake Bonneville at approximately the 5,200 foot contour, above which the Wasatch Range towers up to 12,000 feet. This is mountain high, 12,000 feet. All right, this is Mount Nebo high. All right, the mountains on the west are narrow north-south ranges that rise abruptly from the broad valleys. All right, the broad valleys. And you've seen the valleys, man, the valleys with the mountain size 1,000 feet tall. All right, it's beautiful. All right, the Quarry Mountains, or the Ochre Mountains, all right, west of Jordan River, are 30 miles long, 5 to 10 miles wide, and their summits rise to elevations of about 10,000 feet. All right, the Lake Mountains west of Utah Lake are about 15 miles long, 5 miles wide, and 3,000 feet above the lake. All right, these are the valleys we talking about, man. Nowhere do you see this but in the four corners. All right, this is our sign. This is our tile. All right, this is our tile, y'all. They are connected by the low hills with the Ochre Mountains on the north, with the East Tinnick Mountains on the south. The East Tinnick Mountains borders Utah Lake Valley on the southwest, rising above it about 3,000 feet. A spur from these mountains extends northeastern, constituting the southern border of Utah Valley, and almost unites with the Wasatch Range. The steep western face on the Wasatch Mountains rises about 7,000 feet abruptly above the broad valley, and constitutes a dominant topographic feature of the region. Okay, to the east, range slopes away gradually in a series of broad ridges and narrow valleys to the mountain's plateau region. The western scarp is deeply dissected by canyons, through which the entire Wasatch drainage flows to Great Salt Lake, the chief streams being Bear, Weber, and Jordan rivers. Alright, Utah Lake is a body of shallow water about 21 miles long and 7 miles wide, covering a maximum of 93 square acres, and that's just Utah Lake. Alright, so it's a beautiful thing. Its depth is extend over 8 or less feet, or its depth is so that's about 8 feet. It goes to about 8 feet. Alright, but the maximum depth in the main body of the lake is about 13 feet, so I was right in between. So yeah, it's a beautiful thing, man. This is your underground waters and valleys, and they're just steady hitting you overhead with depths and square footage of range. Alright, and into the Salt Creek and the Spanish Fork. Alright, and the Goshen Valley. Alright, this is all the Goshen Valley, man. Oh, it's a beautiful thing. Alright, the chief ones rise in the Wasatch Mountains and occupy the canyons and their mountain courses, where they maintain perennial flows. Perennial flows in the canyons and the valleys, and it's a beautiful water, and the canyons divert the water and distribute it over the valley, and they irrigate it all season, and the water flows and it flows, and it's a beautiful thing, man. Beautiful thing. I want to check that out. See what we can dig into. Let's get some food. Let's get some food. Alright, Alexandria reigns 9 years, during which the time the Pharisees, this is the Pharisees, were the real rulers of the nation. So let's check it out. See what mischief we can find. Shalom. Shabbatah. Now Alexander left the kingdom to Alexandra, his wife, and depended upon it that the Hebrews would now very readily submit to her, because she had been very averse to such cruelty as he had treated them with. So basically she was used to the punishment that we were, or that the Jews were getting, so she said, hey, she can handle it, and had opposed his violation of their laws, and had thereby got the goodwill of the people. Okay, hold up one second. Not very readily submit to her. Okay, hold up. And depended upon it that the Jews would not. Okay, so now Alexander left the kingdom to Alexandra, his wife, and depended upon it that the Jews would now very readily submit to her, because she had been very adverse to such cruelty. Okay, adverse to such cruelty as he had treated them with. All right, so no, she treated us a little different, and had opposed his violation of their laws. Okay, he didn't want us to practice. Alexandria didn't want to oppose our laws. Okay, and had thereby got goodwill of the people. All right, so because she would allow them to practice the laws. All right, so nor was he mistaken as to his expectations, for this woman kept the dominion by the opinion that the people had of her piety. Alright, of her piety. And let's just go over what piety means again. Piety.
Here's the definition of purity.
Piety.
Here's some
P-I-E-T-Y.
Here's the definition of piety. The quality of being religious or reverent.
Okay. The quality of being religious or reverent. Okay, so that's pretty much a synonym of devotion, or religious, or holiness, or godliness, or saintliness. Okay. So nor was he mistaken as to his expectations, for this woman kept the dominion, okay, by the opinion that the people had of her piety. For she chiefly studied the ancient customs of her country, and cast those men out of the government that offended against her holy laws, against their holy laws. And that she had 2 sons by Alexander. Okay, so she casted out the men. Okay, and that's very important. Okay, because which men were she casting out? So she cast out those men out of the government that offended against her holy laws. And that she had 2 sons by Alexander, she made Hyrcanus the elder high priest on account of his age, and also besides that, on account of his inactive temper, no way disposing him to disturb the public. But she retained the younger Aristobulus with her as a private person by reason of the warmth of his temper. Alright, so you see the children had a little temper, huh? And now the Pharisees joined themselves to her to assist her in the government. These are a certain sect of the Jews that appear more religious than the others. These are the Pharisees. Alright, this is a certain sect. A sect, because remember you had, what, 4 or 5 sects, right? The Sadducees, the Pharisees, the Sadducees, and I can't remember. What were the sects of the Pharisees?
According to Wikipedia, during the Second Temple era, when Jews were divided into sects, the Pharisees were one sect among many, and partisan.
Alright. And the Sadducees was the other. And the scribes were the other. And I can't remember the other one. The scribes, the Pharisees, the Sadducees, and yeah, I'll leave that. You know what? I'll leave that for you to look up. If we don't come into it, y'all let me know. Let me know what were those sects. All right. I know we missing the set. It was the Pharisees, the Sadducees, and the scribes, right? And was there another one? If there was, let me know. All right. And now the Pharisees join themselves to her to assist her in the government. These are certain sects of the Jews that appear more religious than others, and seem to interpret the laws more accurately. Lo, Alexandra hearkened to them to an extraordinary degree, as being herself a woman of great piety towards Ahchwa. But these Pharisees artfully insulated themselves into her favor by little and little, and became themselves the real administrators of the public affairs. They banished and reduced whom they pleased. They bound and loosened men at their pleasure. To say all at once, they had the enjoyment of the royal authority, whilst the expenses and the difficulties of it belonging to Alexandria. She was a sagacious woman in the management of great affairs, and intent always upon gathering soldiers together, so that she increased the army. Okay, so she always was intent to gather soldiers together to increase the army, the one half, and the procured a great body of foreign troops. All right, of foreign troops, till our own nation became not only very powerful at home, but terrible also to foreign potentates. All right, and what I know now is potentates to be is potentates are listed in the Masonic lodges. So that's what I know potentates to be now. So I don't know what they are now, but potentates are head of Masonic lodges. While she governed other people, and the Pharisees governed her. Okay. Accordingly, so the Pharisees governed her while she while she governed other people. Okay. Accordingly, they themselves slew Diogenes, a person of figure, and of that had been a friend of Alexander, and accused him as having assisted the king, okay, with his advice for crucifying the 800 men. All right, so the king crucified 800 men, okay, and the Pharisees actually had Diogenes killed because they figured that, like you said, he was a person of figure, and one that had been a friend of Alexander, and accused him of having assisted the king with his advice for crucifying the 800 men before mentioned. They also prevailed with Alexandra, okay, to put to death the rest of those who had irritated against them. Wow. Alright, now this is the time of Alexandra, okay. This is a time of one of the Greeks going into into Jerusalem, and part of the destruction to bring it down, and also tear down the temples. But as you can see, the Pharisees have gained their way into the government, and Ahchwa was using the wife of Alexandria, Alexander, which is Alexandra, and using them, kindly using her to actually to basically get payback, okay, for the people that Alexander's armies actually sacrificed. Alright, actually killed. They crucified. Alright, crucified them. Alright, 800 men. So he actually accused them for assisting the king in doing that. Alright, so he slew him. Alright, now she was so superstitious as to comply with their desires, and accordingly they slew whom they pleased themselves. Alright, but the principal of those that were in danger fled to Aristobulus, who persuaded his mother to spare the men on account of their dignity, but to expel them out of the city unless she took them to be innocent. So they were suffered to go unpunished, and were dispersed all over the country. Okay, all right, all over the country. But when Alexandra sent out, all right, now these Pharisees, right? Now the same Pharisees, I think this would be the same Pharisees that were chasing out, as we could say, chasing out the Sicarii. All right, chasing out the Sicarii also. So I mean, we're looking for food. All right, we put to death. Also, and so they crucified the 800 for crucifying the 800 men. All right. They were punishing people also. But they were also pushing people out, which were also Jews too. But let's get into it. We're gonna see. All right. So they were suffered to go unpunished, and were dispersed all over the country. Okay, but when Alexandra sent out her army to Damascus under the pretense that Ptolemy was always oppressing that city, she got possession of it, Damascus, right? She got possession of it, nor did it make any considerable resistance. She also prevailed with Tigris, king of Armenia, who lay with his troops about Ptolemais, and besieged Cleopatra by agreements and presents, all right, to go away. Accordingly, Tigris soon arose from the siege, by reason of those domestic tumults which happened upon Lucullus' expedition into Armenia. All right, so man, Alexandria was basically busting moves, man. So let's see if that was bad for her teaming up with Cleopatra in Armenia. In the meantime, Alexandra fell sick, and Aristobulus, her younger son, took hold of the opportunity with his domestics, of which he had a great many. Okay, many were all of them his friends, on account of the warmth of their youth, and got possessed of all the fortresses. He got possession of all of the fortresses. Okay, he also used the sums of money he found in them to get together a number of mercenary soldiers, and made himself king. And besides this, upon Hyrcanus' complaint to his mother, she compassionated compassionated his case and put Aristobulus' wife and sons under restraint in Antonia, alright, which was a fortress that joined to the north part of the temple. It was, as I have already said, the old called the citadel. Alright, Antonia was the old citadel, of old called the citadel, but afterwards got the name of Antonia when Antony was lord of the east, just as the other cities, Sebaste and Agrippias, had their names changed, and these given them from Sebastus and Agrippa, but Alexandria died before she could punish Aristobulus for his disinheriting his brother after she had reigned 9 years. Alright, so after she reigned 9 years and died, alright, let's see what happened. Chapter 6 is when Hyrcanus, who was Alexander's heir, receded from his claim to the crown. Aristobulus is made king, and afterwards the same Hyrcanus, by the means of Antipater, Antipater the Edomite, is brought back to Abydos. At late Pompey is made the arbitrator of the dispute between the brothers. Okay, so it talks about the kingdoms. Alright, so it's showing you that the wife of Alexander, alright, was actually trying to do something good by bringing the Pharisees into the help of reign with her, but as you can see, they were having their own plans into killing actual Greeks that were with Alexandra, but also pushing out other Jews. Okay, pushing out other Jews. All right, so pushing out other Jews, because you got to remember they started to force the circumcisions and things like that, and so they were pushing out other Jews who were too busy fighting to get into the kingdom. Remember, we had got the promised land, so they were too busy fighting. So remember, they didn't have time to get circumcised, so you got to read into those stories too. So about, you know, at the time of when Yahshua came. So it's a beautiful thing, man. It's a beautiful thing. So that was chapter 5 of the wars of the Jewish history of the destruction of Jerusalem. Alright, so as you can see too, Alexandria fell sick. Alexander was over in Europe at this time, back in Europe, establishing. And but the point is, you can see how they started to bring foreign and domestic, but also using foreign, which would bring into Canaanite kings. And as you can see, this right here goes topsy-turvy.